So thanks a lot for joining today. We have news. So basically, that's what I wish to discuss. So the cool part is that today we did. Actually, let me add my name there and share my screen. So we did a bunch of cool. There you go. We did a bunch of cool things and we made a lot of nice progress in the department of actually automatically verifying signatures with Falco CTL and also signing plugins and rules. So the thing I want to show you first. Is what I've been working on. I didn't have too much time actually. This was not that complicated to build, but still it took me a little while. So I will be happy to start by showcasing the latest feature for Falco CTL that I'm going to add as a PR to Falco CTL. I was cleaning up the code, and that is automatic signature verification with cosign. So let's start from the beginning. And basically, I have a rule set here that I published as an OCI artifact, and Max is working to add this kind of signatures to every plugin and every rule that we publish, but I did just one. So I've got one package, and then I used cosign by doing a cosign sign on my custom rule set. So I've got this 0013 tag, and it's got an attached signature, which means that if I do a cosign verify onto my rule set there. So just a second. Actually, just a second. I'll be back. And I'm back. So basically, if I do cosign verify on this package that I published here, that is this, essentially this one, I am with, of course, the right options that I know out of because I signed with cosign and I need to specify the right options for verification. I do that, and cosign is happy. So I have signed this package and I can verify the signature. Now, what we wish to do is instead of having to verify signatures manually, we want to have Falco CTL actually check those signatures automatically. So when Falco CTL tries to install or follow an artifact, it can check if the artifact is signed, and if it's properly signed, it will continue to download this, or otherwise it will give an error. So I've got a version of Falco CTL that I just built that does exactly that. Now, how does it work? How does it work? Here in my cool Falco rule set, I've also published an index file. And if you're not familiar, the index file for Falco CTL is just that, an index. It contains a bunch of things. So you can have rules or plugins, and those have names, and it ties those names to a specific registry. So here it says that on this specific OCI package will contain my rules, my custom rules. And now I've added a little section down here, which says that these rules that I'm downloading from this index are expected to be signed, and the signature has these parameters. So the parameter is that they must be released by GitHub Actions, and this is the repository that we are using in GitHub Actions. Of course, cosign has a bunch of other options, and I can add more if I wish. But in general, these two are the ones that we are using in the actual repositories, like even for Falco or Falco CTL itself, or Falco Sidekick, and all these things. So what happens now is that I install my Falco CTL, and now I'm in the container, and I can add my index. So I just add my index add, cool Falco rule set, and there we go. That's the index. And now I want to install this artifact, and I showed you that the artifact is called LG custom rules, and I know the version that is version 13. So I'm going to install the artifact, and now it's downloading it, it's verifying the signature, and it's happy about the signature. So this shows that it works. But the other question that you might have is, what if the signature doesn't match? And in fact, I created another index, and this one has a mismatched cosine parameters. So instead of having the right repo, it actually has the wrong repository. This one is not the correct one. So I'm going to import that index instead of the other index. I will import this one that does not spark joy, and I will try to install this artifact that is called custom rules no joy. And that's the artifact that is that has a mismatched signature part here. So custom rules no joy. I do that. Resolving dependencies, prepare, verifying signatures, and it says sorry, signature doesn't match because I'm expecting the repository to be not cool rule set, but I found this cool Falco rule set, and that's not right. Of course, there are cases in which you want to skip that because this verification does need to connect to the internet to download the public key and all these things and cosine to do its magics. So we need an option to stop to prevent this from happening. This is insecure, but we do need one. So I didn't know how to call it, so I asked ChatGPT, and I went there and I asked, how do I disable signature verification in Falco CTL? And it says that Falco CTL has a no verify flag. I wasn't aware, so I added one. And now I can do no verify. And now it works. So that's my demo for today. I take questions or other things so I can stop talking.
Awesome. That's very cool.
Thanks, Max.
So you're using the cosine library, right?
So cosine, unfortunately, doesn't have a streamlined way to be used as a library, but fortunately, it's Go software, so you can pretty much import its packages and stuff. I had bugged Carlos about this, and I believe that the cleanest way that to do it in terms of implementation is to just take the file that cosine uses for its own command line. Like it's got the file that takes the options, the ones that I showed you, like the issuer or IDC provider and all this stuff, and it calls a function. So I stole that file, and in fact, as you can see, I retained the copyright for Sigstore because this file has not been written by me, it's been only stolen by me. And I have slightly modified the function that takes the parameters and does the verification. So now it only takes the images, and it's got all these parameters that are the regular command line parameters. And so I put this in this internal package. From as a simple interface, our Falco CTL has a verify signature part that checks the signature object inside the index file. And once and it sets these things that are the ones that we use, and we can add as many as we'd like. And it sends all this stuff to cosine. It's not very clean, and Carlos agrees, but it's currently the only way. Maybe in the future, cosine will have a much more streamlined way to be imported as a library. And in that case, we just need to change this file or that file so that we use the new way.
Yeah, I'm wondering why, and at least try to propose to export at least the package to the packages, exportable packages instead of internal ones, because at the end of the day, I think that's nothing so internal if you are able to leverage it So maybe we could ask maybe Carlos, and at the same time we could open a PR to cosign.
Yeah, so this package, this file that I stole is actually exported by cosign. So you can, and there are other packages that use this specific one, but it's got a problem. Deep inside this function, like the deep down here, at the end, it prints out stuff. So if I do cosign, this is actually what happens if I do cosign verify. I showed you a cosign verify before, and this function is exactly this. I stole this exact function, but as you can see, it starts printing stuff, and there's no way to prevent it from printing the stuff. So we either open a PR and add this parameter, but it's not very clean still, like it's not a clean solution, or they say that someone is trying to propose a bit of a cleaner approach to do this, but it's still a good point. So I basically took that file, removed the part that prints out stuff, and took it inside Falco CTL. So that is why you see me stealing this part. Yeah, another question that Max had, and just wanted to say it here again, is why we are adding, actually, maybe I'm not sure if it was Max or I was speaking with someone else about this. Why do we add this signature and cosign part to the index? Can't we just add it to the artifact itself in the config layer? And the problem is that we would lose the security properties in this case, because the index is something that is distributed from other channels rather than the artifact. So with signatures, we are protected from an attack, for the possible attack scenario, or for possible issues where someone gains control of our repository and is allowed to post stuff to the repository, so to the OCI repository. If this happens, someone might try to replace an artifact, upload their own plugin, and all this kind of interesting things. And however, they won't be able to sign it because the signature won't match. Because of course, in this attack, the attacker only controls the repository and doesn't control the entire GitHub organization. So if you only control the repository, you won't be able to do much. And if you take control of the index, only the index, you still won't be able to do much, because if you take control of the index, we're pretty screwed, because you can remove the signature part. But the idea is that it works exactly in the same way as you do for example, downloading Falco. You go to the website, you download the key from the website, and you download and you log into the deb or RPM repository. If someone has control of both, of course, they can screw you over. But what we are trying to guard us against is someone that is able to take control of the repository where you download the binaries. So if you can only alter the binaries, that's what an attacker tries to do, then in this way we have an additional layer of security, which we definitely need. I'll stop talking.
Sorry, Luca, I just rejoined, but I missed the alternative way of adding the signature configuration instead of in the index. So
so if you added it into the configuration, you would have one OCI artifact that has two things, like as everything, like the code, the signature data that actually acts as a public key. So the public key, as you can see, is not distributed at all because we don't need it. And so essentially, it's like distributing the data, the signature, and the public key without a way of verifying it. So if an attacker gets a hold of the repository and gets the ability to push into the repository, they would be able to upload their own artifact, public key, and signature, and it will still verify. So which means that this whole thing would be useless. Because if you can, by changing only the repository, you can screw us over completely, then we wouldn't have any security properties. And that's why we need to distribute the signature in another channel that is different from the one that we use to distribute the artifact. In our case, this is a bit weaker because we use GitHub for everything, but not necessarily. We could distribute indexes anywhere else, and anyone can use their own systems to distribute their indexes and to distribute their artifacts. And also, you can also copy the artifacts. That's a cool thing. So if I want to create my mirror, I can just take the Falco artifacts and copy them to my mirror, and then take the indexes and keep the same signature data into my mirror, and it would work. So maybe I push this to Quay because I like Quay more. And I keep this signature that says, yes, but these are official Falco things, and it will still work because the signature verification, signature data is not lost if we copy the artifact by using, of course, cosine copy that copies all the signature data. Hope that answers.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you.
So if there's no more questions about this, I will open a PR for review in FalcoCTL. Reviews would be very appreciated, especially because I like adding security stuff, but sometimes my code is not as clean as it could be. So I will be happy to hear what you have to say, and then Max will tell us a bit more about what he did to work. Oh, I have a chat message, I think.
Yeah, it was me.
Sure.
So I'm going to recover my my browser because I just crashed. Sorry about that.
I see an Arch Linux user, I guess.
That's not the problem. Okay, so I can share now the screen, and also my screen sharing works also with Wayland. So I
tried installing Wayland and nothing worked. I tried.
I know Wayland with on Arch Linux, so I feel very lucky, and it's working. So I just opened a PR on the plugins that introduces basically it's about signing, so the signing part, and before we talked about the verification of the signatures. So for the plugins, we needed a way to output the digest of the artifacts that are built and published to the registry from the command line that is currently used in the repository to build, which is not FalcoCTL, but uses some primitives of FalcoCTL. But the focal point is that it didn't output the digests that are needed to cosign for signing in. So in this PR, basically, I'm just defining a structure for the metadata that you want to output. So it's nothing so standard that I just design it in a simple way. We could for sure move it, but right now the output is basically the URL of the repository where the artifacts are pushed, and the digest for each artifact that is built with the related tags added to it. And on that, the pipeline, the GitHub Actions, are using this JSON to trigger a matrix of workflow to run cosign against each artifact to sign. So this is the matrix that is built, and from this matrix we have one job per artifact, and on each job the cosign sign is run. It's pretty simple, I'd say. Unfortunately, right now it's not working, and I asked the help of Carlos and maybe developer guy. Maybe they had some hints, but to be honest, I didn't have much time then to dig into it. I think that I have some job runs. Yeah, that's our failing. Maybe we can see. Yeah, this is a sample workflow. We have the publish job as of now, and then we have a matrix of jobs for the signing that are triggered by the output based that are built on the output of the previous stage. And here we can see that it's failing, but yeah, we have some issue with the permission on the artifact push to the GitHub registry.
It says what's the error, because the interesting part, let's say, that is that on my simple repo where I use Falco CTL, everything works. So I'm wondering what is going what is wrong here, because it works and it's so easy. And the error is that not enough permission or something like.
Yeah, it's some missing permission. Well, here it tries to push the blobs and it got unauthorized. So I think then ask for a new token. If I'm reading correctly, yeah. We got 200.
Have you set the visibility of your
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they are public. So I found, to be honest, sometimes the permissions on the registry of GitHub a bit flaky. So sometimes during the testing, I got permission deny and then retrying. So
yeah, I remember with I had that problem too. But the weird thing is that when I tried later with Falco CTL, like vanilla Falco CTL, I had none of those issues. I don't know why, but maybe we should update. It won't fix this, but we probably should update it in the plugins repo, the version of Falco CTL library that is used. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, and well, besides that, this is a sample output of 2 Octa plugins with the related rule set. So we have the repository with the reference. Actually, the side note, interesting stuff of GitHub. I don't know why, but this JSON is something remodeled and output in a different manner because it doesn't make sense. This line.
What is that? That's not JSON. That's
this is the right output. I don't know why GitHub does this stuff, but this is the right JSON, and the proof of that is that we have only 2 jobs triggered, and here we have a non-valid JSON. I don't know why. So we have repository and
the echo command. It's I don't know if Bash interprets that echo. Maybe Bash is doing something to it. I'm not sure, but still, it's removing the quotes. So I guess that's right. I mean, I think that's exactly what would happen if you copy pasted that into your shell. Because but the thing is that the output is much longer than the input. That's the part.
Yeah. And to be honest, I just ignored this line because then it works and is.
JSON is right, but the bash printing is not. So who cares? At the end of the day.
Yeah. Not a big problem. Yeah. So yeah, this is the work in progress, and I guess that when the test will succeed, this PR for me it's ready to be reviewed.
Cool. So yeah, we need to fix that problem. I will try to find time to help you there, and we can keep pinging Carlos, because I'm sure that this is one of the my connection dropped. Sorry. Okay. So we will also ping Carlos, because I'm sure this is one of the things that he encountered, because GitHub Actions tokens are something weird. I remember weirdness there, and I'll try to help you there. If you have ideas, great. Otherwise, I'll try to come up with ideas. Because I think we're close. We are very close. So it's a matter of, at this point, the actions are merging this feature in FalcoCTL, adding the signatures, and this can be done in parallel because they don't require each other. And then with the new version of FalcoCTL, we can add the section to the index. And the cool thing is that older FalcoCTLs that don't know what the signature is wouldn't crash. They would ignore that section. And so after people upgrade to the new version of FalcoCTL, they will automatically verify the signatures without even noticing. So I think that's the steps are, we did the bulk of the work. So really we need to tie it all together, and things will start working.
Yeah, also I'd like to add that the same part of signing it's ready for the rules, which is pretty simpler because there are no metrics of rule sets built and published.
Yeah, for the plugins, we need to test it, because you know that you can have multi-platform OCI artifacts. So you have both x86 and the ARM64. So in that case, the artifact that you sign needs to be the same one as the one that you verify. So when I wrote my patch for FalcoCTL, basically it will check the index manifest. So that is the artifact, the one that indexes both. So the idea is that it doesn't matter if you have downloaded x86 or ARM, it will check the artifact itself, which is the right thing, because that's what you push when you do the push with FalcoCTL. It works in theory. The code seems okay, but we need to test it, because I tested with the rules. That's easier. That's a bit easier to work with.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we did quite a few things. If there's no other items, we can adjourn this meeting. And I think Roberta might be asking for your help in the. You remember that I said a bunch of things that we need to do, and maybe if you want, and I'll be happy if you can help with some of them, because this way we can bring this to completion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Thank you all, and have a great evening. Have a great aperitivo if you'll do, and see you next time.
Thank you all. Have a nice evening. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.